Anyway, viewers, this is the segment that it gives me, mixed feelings. I don't know, because then people who have survived it, they inspire me. Now, everybody's got their story, one way or the other, ended up well or bad. Now, today we're talking to Mrs. Joyce Asuma. Um, uh, Before we talk to Mrs. Joyce Asuma, let me show you this video, all right? Let's watch this video so that we can have a conversation.
Asuma. I'm currently the National Women's Commissioner for Private University Students Association of Ghana. Actually, one day I was watching television and it was time for me to go to bed. I wanted to wake up and I realized I can't move my legs and the pain was so unbearable. So that was how it started. So I called my mother that I am in trouble. My mother, my father, they rushed to the place and they couldn't do anything. So they anticipated it's a spiritual something. And so they had to call my pastor to come and pray for me. He prayed. I was still in pain. So the next morning I went to the hospital. At the hospital, the doctor asked that we do x-ray. We did it, but he still said he couldn't find anything. And so he asked that we go and do some series of tests, which I don't know their names. So after the tests and things he did, he said he can't find anything wrong with me. He took me to another hospital. So as I was there, they also said they can't find anything. I am fine. They are still doing the test, but they can't see anything that can trigger that. So me being there, I can't move. They put, like, I have to be on diaper. They put this tube into my bladder for me to urinate because I can't walk. You can't touch me. The whole body feels like from my neck to the leg, pains everywhere. So I was just lying there. The doctors gave a lot of drugs. Now they prescribe physiotherapy for me to be attending, but still there was no hope. I just lie down like, excuse me to say, vegetable who cannot move. My mother's life has to stand still because she has to be the one to be taking care of me. I don't even bath. She has to clean me because I can't do anything. My husband proposed that we should try outside. And glory be to God, when I went outside, the same MRI that I took to the hospital, I went to C&J hospital and they asked me to go and do MRI. So I went to do the MRI, brought it, and the doctor said, there's nothing alarming in it. I am fine medically. And so when I was going out of the country, my husband asked me to take along the MRI report with me in case they will ask that I should do it again. So I took it with me and we went. When we went, they checked the MRI scan and they discovered that I have inflammation at my lower back, and that is what is causing the problem. He gave me medicine and here I am. I can wear heels today, I can walk today.
Wow. Okay, so Jay,
Wow.
yeah, how are you anyway?
I'm fine.
You look beautiful. Do you have tears in your eyes?
Yeah.
Oh,
Anytime I want to talk about my story, I feel bad.
I understand. But please do not put tears in our eyes, okay? We want to draw some strength from you, okay? All right, so how long ago did this happen?
Um, Over 5 years.
And how long did you stay in the pain?
I can be in pain for like, let's say in a year, like 6 to 8 months, I can just be lying down.
Wow.
So this happened in a period of 5 years.
Yes.
So for 5 years, you had lost your mobility.
I can't do anything, no job, no motherly activity, no wife activity, nothing, just there. My life has just stand still.
What was your life before then? What were you doing? What was your daily life activities like?
I was working and also schooling at the same time.
Okay, so let me ask, did they say inflammation of the pelvic, or they only said inflammation of the back? Pelvic inflammatory disease.
Yes,
pelvic inflammatory disease.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what again did they diagnose you?
Deficiency in vitamin D.
Okay.
A high deficiency.
Okay. So when you started feeling this pain, I mean, the natural thing to do is to go to the hospital.
Sure.
So you went to the hospital.
Yeah.
The doctors ran the test that they wanted to do.
Sure.
And they didn't find anything.
Yeah.
But at this time, you're still in pain.
You know, it's amazing and heartbreaking when you cannot walk, you are in serious pain. You walk to the hospital, they run the test and they tell you you are fine. And so you could go home, no medicine, nothing. And you know that you are not fine. They can tell that you are not fine, but they say they can't find anything wrong with you.
In your first year of experiencing this, what were some of the things that you did to try and resolve or cure this illness that had just befallen you?
Yeah, the first year I went to 2 hospitals, and after running a series of tests for like 3 to 4 months, that they said they still can't find anything wrong with me. I'm medically fine. Then my mother, African woman, is spiritual, so
I was coming there, that's why.
they have to
You started touring
prayer
prayer
ground.
camps.
I tell you.
I would center on the spiritual aspects, but anytime you went to the hospital and they told you were fine, what did you do? Did you fight back? Did you just accept the results as it were or as it was? And when you came back as well, okay, I'll save the second question for later.
I always get broken-hearted because all I want is something should be diagnosed, something should be seen for you to work towards it, because you are not well, and they tell you you are medically fine. And so when I go to the hospital and they tell you you are fine, I cry, and sometimes the doctor is like, you should be happy you are fine. I said, no.
You're fine.
Even if you cannot get the equipment or whatever it will take to work this out, you give me a transfer, I could fly out of the country to get it dealt with. But if you tell me I am fine.
So let me ask you, do you think that it was a problem of the doctors not being competent, or they lacked the equipment to check exactly, because you experienced it, so that we know exactly how to deal with it? Do you think that they lacked that equipment that will check exactly what was wrong with you, or it was just the doctors being incompetent? I'm sorry to say or ask.
Actually, this is the exact question where my husband. There's that question that my husband is trying to avoid me from answering, and so he doesn't want me talking about my problem. I have basically lost hope and trust in our doctors, like personally, because
I can understand from where you are coming from. Yes.
Yes.
It's fine. It's if you say that.
I feel like they could do more. If you try this, try that, and it is not it, like you could use it as a case study. Try to find out what is wrong with this person that is making her life stand still. But you cannot just give up because you cannot find anything wrong with the person, when you can also tell that the person is not fine.
My first encouragement to you is just to say that not all doctors, but I understand where emotionally you're coming from.
Sure.
It was a representation of a certain particular hospital or doctor you dealt with that's made you that made you feel because equally in recent times doctors have made major advancements in, I think there's been a kidney transplant recently at Kolebu, so I can understand emotionally where you're coming from. what I want to add to or ask is, in your 5 years, did this situation deteriorate as each year went on, or you felt there was a sense of getting better at any point in time?
There was an increase, rather.
Worsen.
Yes, it was worsened, and you know, got to like its peak where, I have to be lying there. At a point, I had this doctor who have to come to the house and, give me their normal painkiller, and my body has now rejected the painkiller. Now I take the highest dose, and it doesn't work because all those years I've only been on painkiller.
So if they didn't do any diagnosis, what were they killing? What was the painkiller supposed
Pains
to
to
do? Pains.
reduce
This
the
was
pain.
general pains.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's how about we travel from when you gave up on the internal doctors here in Ghana and your husband suggested that you should travel outside the country. Was it a tough decision for you, or because of the pain you accepted it?
Actually, I didn't want to go.
Why not?
Because I felt like it is, if there was something, they would have seen it here. And if MRI, that is supposed to be our final scan or something, says I am fine, what again are they going to diagnose me of? And so when he said I should go, I said no, I am not going. And he kept pressing me. So I felt like, okay, this man might get fed up of the situation because all these years he's been trying. So let me just take that step. Just try it.
Did you have children by that time?
Yes, I have one child.
You have one child. So when you go to the hospital there outside of the country, we're not mentioning names,
Sure.
but when they diagnosed you of pelvic inflammatory disease, do you know what pelvic inflammatory disease is? Do you have an idea what it is?
Sure. Because when I was pregnant and I went to the hospital, the doctor told me I have pelvic inflammatory disease because I had pain in my abdomen.
Okay.
So.
Give you an idea.
Yeah. So they gave me antibiotics to treat it, and that was it.
I mean, just for the viewers, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I know that pelvic inflammatory disease is a bacterial infection.
The country. So, how long did treatment take outside the country as well?
Like 1-2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
You had all the treatments there before you came back to Ghana?
No.
Okay. Anyway,
No,
the
they
conversation is getting interesting. I want to understand more. We're going to continue with the conversation, but how about we go for a break? When we come back, we'll continue talking to Mrs. Joyce. Thank you for staying with us. If you just joined us, this is Prime Morning, and we are talking to our survivor this morning. Daniela has also joined us. She's going to be telling us her take on this conversation. Madame Joyce survived some health issues. I don't know what exactly was the problem with the medical system, but I'm not sure that, you know, the system is that bad yet. But I would like to know, what's your general, I want to measure, it happened for a period of 5 years, but since you've been healed, how long ago is this? How long have you been healed?
June, July, August, September, October, November, December.
Oh, so this year.
Yeah.
So it's nearly about 6 months after you're feeling fine.
I mean, watching your story and then having you walk into the studio and walk on set, then I told you that I was going to hold on with that question. We tend to appreciate some things better when it's taken away from us. So I want to ask you, the first day you probably woke up from that bed, then you started walking, being able to move freely without pain. How did you feel?
It was amazing because the first one started on bed where I could move by myself, you know, turn on the bed. And I woke my husband up and I said, can you imagine I moved by myself? He said, yes, I can tell. And then I moved again and I woke up by myself and it was amazing, you know. Wow. It was a celebration in the house. Yeah.
It was better than your birthday, was it?
I'm
happy we are seeing smiles now.
Yeah.
You also mentioned, before we bring in Daniela, you mentioned you tried the spiritual approach as well.
Yeah.
What did you do?
My mother took me to a church. They prayed for me. They gave me some guidelines. And a period, like, I wasn't seeing anything new. We went to another church, you know, and the spiritual aspect is difficult to say because I had prophet friends who have been praying with me as well. But the difficult aspect is where I've been advised to quit from our house that we have built, you know, and go rent, because what I'm facing is in the house that we have built.
In the house that you have built with your husband that you're living in.
Yes.
The problem that is in your back is in the house that you're living with.
That brings me to the question that I want us to ask Daniela this morning, that in such a situation, the Christian faith now, or faith sets in, and you do get solutions, proposed solutions from men of, you know, good faith, or pastors and prophets to tell you stuff like this. What do you do in such a situation with regards to her situation?
Hi, Joyce.
Hello, Daniela.
First of all, I'd like to say well done for surviving that ordeal. It's a difficult question because, again, we're talking about faith versus mental health. So I'm not a faith specialist. I'm specialized in mental health, and those are two very different things. If I understand correctly, you went for your physical health to seek help with.
Yeah.
And then they came up with a sort of an estimation of where this illness could be coming from. So there's not much I can say about that, to be honest.
Okay.
You know, that either you believe that or you don't believe that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at a point in time, I'm sure you had, if I'm dared to say, that you had suicidal thoughts, or probably just ending your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
She confirms this. How do you walk a person through this path, this darkness?
Well, I mean, it depends. If you're in the middle of it, you would deal with it differently because you're still in the middle of what I would term a trauma. So what dear Joyce has been through over 5 years, not only being paralyzed in having absolutely no mobility, which in itself is incredibly stressful, she wasn't getting any answers. So there was this uncertainty as to what is wrong with me. Doctors are saying I'm fine. Is it all in my head? But I admire your strength, and there's a lesson we can take away from this, is that you persevered. You didn't give up until you got your physical resolution to your problem. what I do feel quite strongly, and I was, listening to you speak, and the tears are very close to the surface. So I think rather than to say don't cry, I would even encourage you to cry. So this is again some mental health stuff.
Yes.
We feel uncomfortable when people cry.
Easier for the ladies to cry.
Yeah. Well, I've had men cry as well. So you do have those tear ducts.
But one question that I really want to ask you is that, and be honest, because Daniela is here, have you been challenged by what you think or feel about our medical system in this country? Have you been challenged? Are you confident in it? What is your mind telling you about our medical system in this country?
I feel like we could do better, and probably the government could also help, because if I hadn't have a husband who have money to be taking me from one hospital to the other, I would have been a dead person.
Okay.
You
Now,
know.
Daniela, do you think that this is purely mental because she's tried only 2 out of the many hospitals in Ghana?
It wasn't 2.
Oh.
The first year was 2, but
Okay.
I went through a lot of
Or
hospitals.
maybe series of, maybe
Yeah.
countless, maybe a lot of them, and she didn't get the results that she was hoping to get. All right. Do you think that has put her mind in a certain position that maybe talking to her can change it? What exactly do you make of that?
Well, like I said, if she had come to counselling whilst she was still in that condition,
Right.
with no clear diagnosis, uncertainty, paralysis, you would work with somebody differently than when they've come out of that situation. So this is all about trauma. You have been traumatized through this awful experience that went on for 5 years. This is a lot of pain, not only physical pain, but also emotional pain, uncertainty, fear of dying, fear of having this pain for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't then think of an exit option?
Yeah.
Let's just end it all. I mean, it's understandable. So what I would do with Joyce now, because I see that she might have overcome her physical challenges, but emotionally, it is still very close to the surface. This is why we're seeing your emotion. And actually, it's really healthy for you to shed those tears. So in my practice, I have a box of tissues. That's my tool of my trade. And I invite everybody, including men, to cry. And they do cry. So this is a great release. And I would slowly, it's a long process because it took you 5 years of pain, also emotional pain, holding on to it to start to release that. And we would chip away at it very slowly. So trauma can take years to completely overcome.
We talk mainly about you, but there's a man and there's family in the picture.
Yeah.
Did you have challenges in? I'll give you some time.
It's okay.
You need a box of tissues, see?
I get you a
And
box of
tissues.
tissue. Okay.
I don't mind production working on set and giving you tissues. This is we have to. We would do it as it is.
Is your husband watching?
I'm a man. I've got my
No.
hygiene. Yeah. Well, I don't mind picking it up. It's fine. We'll still take
Thank
it.
you.
It's
There you
normal.
go. Yes.
Yeah. I'm a phone helper.
Definitely.
While she's with the tissue.
All for you.
Thank you.
What do you think happens to family in such a situation?
It's a very good point. I'm very glad you raised that, because when we have family, they will be affected by our own traumas. So they will have certain level of trauma as well. Your husband would have also been incredibly worried. Your child would have been seeing one parent not well, the other worried. It will impact us in terms of, there's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
Mum might die, what's happening, uncertainty, all those things are very undermining, and we'll find it very difficult to focus on anything. So with trauma, you would slowly, when the person has reached a safe place, that's when you start to address it, talk about the times that were worst times for you, and then slowly we can put that to rest. So we integrate that experience, and then we can kind of put it to bed, so to say. So, it would take a bit, even though physically you're healthy now, emotionally there's still a bit of catching up to do.
Sure. But did you feel at a point that your husband was challenged You know, did you feel that you'd nearly lose your husband?
Did he show weakness?
Did he show any weakness?
No,
That's a good one.
No, he never showed weakness. He has always been there. In fact, he has been the one motivating me to leave. You know, at a point when I wanted to end it all because I couldn't bear the pain anymore, I nearly took my life. And
How did you, at what point exactly? I mean, I know that you know the point, but did he know? Did you tell him? How did you overcome that suicidal thinking?
Through conversation, like we were talking, I was just lying down, we were talking, but the way I was talking, I realized he noticed because in fact I was here, and he noticed it, and he advised me out of it. He was like I need you, like, so don't try leaving us. Yeah.
Lovely.
Very powerful. Those are very powerful words. Like,
Good partner.
you've just taken the questions out of my mind. Like, that is very powerful for him to say that.
I mean, I think it's a good time for Daniela to throw in the importance of what family, the role family plays in our life, especially mental, your friends, family, whoever is your, shall I say stakeholders? Because everybody they've got interest.
Your life
Yes,
stakeholders, right?
yes.
Yes.
How maybe we say support mechanism. What exactly the role they play and how well we can get them involved.
Well, I think the role that people can play when they have somebody close to them in a really bad situation is to give them emotional support, be there for them, not try and solve the problem for them. They're not doctors, and they can't actually solve the problem, but they can give you that support, like your husband. It's wonderful the way, please don't leave us, and stay with us. So you were able to communicate. So communication is another really important thing in families. And in any relationship, really, communication. So you were able to have the trust in your husband to communicate, I've reached my limits. And he was able to talk you through that. What I would say is, and slightly off your question now, is when we do get the point of suicidal urges, if they're quite frequent, I would always suggest see a psychiatrist who might be able to prescribe some medication to bring those suicidal urges down, okay? You would do that in tandem, so alongside therapy, because medication doesn't cure. It treats the symptoms.
Okay.
Yeah, so you won't be quite so upset. You'll be a bit numbed. But to actually address the root cause of your problem, you would have therapy. So you would do both at the same time. So this is what I would do if I have a client who becomes quite suicidal, I've had several, and it's on an almost daily basis, you would ask them to take some medication to bring that down. And for that, sorry, you need to go to a psychiatric unit. I just need to get that out there for information. 37 has an excellent psychiatric unit. All big hospitals have got psychiatric units. Asylum Down is there, of course, and also Pantang, the more private hospitals. Yeah.
Our time is up. We have to get going, but just let me find out from you. How is life now? How are you now?
I don't know. I think you have to slow down because,
You're trying to catch up with everything.
I told you, I am trying to catch up, and I'm doing everything. I leave the house in the morning, and I go late in the night. I have to be here. I have to do this. I feel good.
I need you. Someone is going through a challenge now, similar or worse. I need you to encourage that person, better from the person who's going through it.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
I will urge whoever is going through a similar problem to have faith, have faith in God and still pursue. If you go to one hospital and they can't find it, find another hospital to attend and push them. Tell them you are suffering. They should do something for you. Don't let it go. Everything is not a spiritual issue. No. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Joyce. And thank you so much, Daniela. I'll come chasing, I'm telling you.
Please do.
Now, something to lift your soul and your spirit up. Watch this video.